Hello, today I have another leg flexibility routine for you. You can use it as a splits warm-up or just to increase your leg flexibility. We're gonna get started with a low lunge, and there's a few ways that you can work on your low lunge. Start with your right leg in front of you and keep your back knee up like that. So that is a low lunge. And you can just stay like this. Tuck in your tailbone and you'll feel it in your hip flexor. And then as you modify your low lunge, you can also bring your knee down, but work the option that you like best. I'll show you different ways here that you can do your low lunge. I want you to pick the one that works best for you. It'll stretch different parts of your muscle depending on where you go in the move, and you pick what works best. So this one here, when you bring your knee down, you start feeling it more in your inner hip. So you can stay here. Another thing you can try is bring your left palm on the mat and grab your left foot in your right hand, just like that. And then you can also look up. Now you're still working your inner hip, but you're also working your quads and your hip flexor. This is a really great stretch for your leg flexibility. We're going to repeat that on your left leg. So bring your left leg in front of you. Again, you have the option to stay here. Feel it in your hip flexor. Or take your hands down, your knee down. Now you're still feeling this in your hip flexors, in your inner thighs. And then you can add your quad stretch if you want to. Next, we're going to get into your wide-legged forward fold to do a bit of another hamstring stretch. I like to keep my feet about 3 feet distance apart. From here, now you can feel it in your hamstrings, but we want to work a little bit more the outer hamstrings. So we're going to switch from side to side. Here I am holding my right foot and keeping my hips in the middle as much as possible. And I want to remind you, anytime you do a forward fold, you should really try to make sure you are engaging your core and lifting up your tailbone. Keep your back flat. And then as you feel the stretch, don't try to avoid the discomfort. You can ease in and out, of course, of the discomfort. But I know that sometimes I do that. I try to avoid it and I don't go deep enough. Now, particularly that have been stretching for a while, it takes a bit more effort to get in the discomfort. And I tend to want to avoid it. So focus on what you're doing on your stretch and make sure that you're feeling it. So we're gonna go to the left side here and stay here for about a minute. Now that I've been making more flexibility videos, I sometimes feel like I'm repeating myself because the tips that I have, I tend to repeat in most of my videos. But here I would like to remind you that making your flexibility sessions enjoyable is one of the most important things you can do to ensure your success. To become more flexible, you need to enjoy your training sessions, to want to look forward to them so that you stay consistent. So find ways to make these sessions really enjoyable, part of your routine. And some ways that you can do that is by muting me once you get to know the routine and listening to your favorite music, or stretching at the same time as you're watching a show, something like that. But if you do listen to something as you're doing your stretching, just make sure that you can still use your mind to focus on feeling the discomfort, on feeling what kind of stretching your body needs. Okay, now we're gonna do a seated forward fold. For your seated forward fold, I like to use a block. You don't have to, obviously. And you may need to use a strap, actually. If you cannot reach your toes, bring a strap around your feet like that. Hold your strap and go as far in the stretch as you can. As long as, again, you're engaging your lower abs and like tilting your tailbone back. And then once you become more flexible, you can reach your toes or even bring your elbows on the mat. We just have about 20 seconds left here. Breathe into your stretch and try to pay attention to any muscle that you're tensing and to relax those muscles. It's perfectly natural to want to tense up sometimes when you feel the discomfort of your stretches, but try to stay really focused on relaxing your muscles. Next, we're gonna do the triangle pose. Bring your right foot in front of you. So this is a bit similar to the pyramid pose, which we'll be doing right after this. You're going to lower your right hand on your shin as far as you can go. I mean, you may not be flexible enough to make it to the mat. You can just stay on your shin right here, and then you're stacking your shoulders. And you could raise your hand right there as you gaze up. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. I've been liking this stretch lately because I find that my hamstrings have been really tight. I've been doing a lot of weight lifting in my lower body, struggling with keeping up with my flexibility. This is a really good stretch. Now we're gonna move to your pyramid pose, so you can bring both hands on the mat in front of you, or on yoga blocks if you need yoga blocks instead of reaching the mat. And again, you're gonna keep that right hip back and keep your lower abs engaged. And as you exhale, as usual, that's when you can get deeper in your stretch. We're going to switch leg. So again, we are going to do the triangle. And sometimes I find that moving my hips a little bit helps me play around with the stretch and figure out if I need more stretching in one area more than another. So you can see it, you can play around with that. Now I'm going to get into the pyramid pose. Another thing that you can try when you're in the pyramid pose is to lift your back heel up, and then you'll find it gets into your hamstring some more. As you do that, and you can bring your heel back down and see how that feels. If you want to stay, you can just stay like that, or you can go up and down. Again, you can play with your hips going from side to side. But if you're not moving, pay attention to bringing your left hip back. And as you do that, you can even put your hand on your left hip and push it back. And as you do that, you'll notice that the stretch is more intense. Next, we're gonna get in your half splits. Take your right leg in front of you. The half splits is one of those stretches that I always tend to include in my stretching routines because it is so effective. It's painful. I find it pretty uncomfortable. It gets into that hamstring and it works quite well. So again, always the same rules apply. Keep your right hip back, push it back again if you need to, using your hand. And press your heel down on the mat. That will also intensify the stretch. Engage your lower abs and make sure you're keeping your back flat, your chest open. Exhale into the stretch. Switch leg. If you're anything like me, you may notice that sometimes you feel more flexible than other times, and maybe you're more flexible at night than in the morning, or just even during different times in the month. You may notice that you feel more flexible than other times. And that's very interesting because the more you practice your flexibility, the more you'll get to know your body, and you'll notice these subtle differences. If you do other types of workouts, you'll also notice that they may impact your flexibility. Just stay consistent. It's like anything else. I talk a lot about weight loss on this channel, and same thing with flexibility training. Your progress will not be steady necessarily. It'll go up and down, but gradually you'll notice that it improves. Next, we're gonna do the pancake. You're going to sit down on your mat, open up your legs as wide as you can. I haven't been training as much for the side splits, and I've been loving the pancake lately because I feel like I need it. It just gets my muscles where they're tight. I really have been enjoying. I tend to stay there for 5 minutes sometimes. Today we'll just be staying here for about 2 minutes. And as you bend at the hip and try to bring your hands on the ground if you want to, or just you can stay like that, like I was at first. Again, you just want to make sure that you're keeping your lower abs engaged and that you're keeping your back flat. Don't compromise your form trying to get low. Just don't bend your back. Keep your chest proud. And something that I did notice when I started training the pancake, I would feel the stretch behind my knees a lot more than in my hamstrings or my inner hips. So that's something you may notice. And wherever you feel the stretch is going to change possibly over the course of your flexibility training. But as long as you feel the stretch somewhere, it is improving your flexibility. We have 2 stretches left in this leg flexibility routine. And so let's get to our supine hamstring stretch. Lie on your back. Hold your right foot in your hands and then straighten your leg. And obviously, if you're not flexible enough to grab your foot, you can just grab your leg down here. And then you're going to be stretching by pulling your leg towards you. And as you stretch your hamstring here, you can stay to wherever you feel the stretch, wherever you feel the discomfort, and you stay there for a few breaths or until you start opening up. And then you can move your leg towards the other side. Let's say here I was holding my right foot on my right. Now I can point to the left. See how that feels here? Stay here for a few breaths. I'm opening up and I'm going to go in the middle. Now we're going to switch leg. My left foot is pointing to the left right now. Now I'm going to hold that. I find that my left leg is a lot more flexible than my right. And you'll probably notice that too. You have a side that's more flexible. So I feel like I don't need to hold this stretch as long on my left, but I'll just do the same length on that side too, since I'm guiding you along. Now I'm going to point to the right. Into the middle. And for the pigeon pose, which is our last stretch here, you're gonna take your right leg at a 90-degree angle. So your right knee is going to be just below your right wrist. And you can keep your shin parallel to the top of the mat like this, or you can bring your foot closer into your body, depending on your level of flexibility. And also depending on the modification that you'll choose for this pigeon pose stretch that I'll be showing you. So if you stay like that, you can decide to lower your upper body down and enjoy the stretch just like that. Or you can stay up, move your heel up if you want to, support yourself on your hand at whatever level you need to. And then you can even add in a quad stretch by grabbing your left foot with your left hand. Do what feels right for you today. We're going to switch leg. Again, you have the option to go down on your forearms. It really depends. Whatever stretch you choose, whatever pigeon variation you choose, depends on where you feel you need the most stretching today. I tend to use all of those pigeon variations every single day. I would say right now, my favorite is probably this one, because I really want to work on my back and quad flexibility. Well, that's it for your leg flexibility routine. You need to really be consistent if you want to see results, and do this at least a few times a week. Hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to check out my full body flexibility program if you want more guidance to improve your overall flexibility. Thank you for watching.